Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Xbox channel for the Gears of War Pro League Split 3 Day 6. I'm Taylor Reflections, and we're joined by Jacob MVP. Is looking colorful today. I get to see the shirt, man. You're bragging about it. Chat, does it live up to the hype? Does Jacob's shirt wow you? Let me know off the rip, baby, because Jacob was pumped up about it. How you feeling?
Hey, I'm finding myself a little bit more and more. That's why you're seeing a lot of different shirts come out. I might drop a mixtape or two by the end of the show. Who knows?
Okay.
But that's how I'm feeling. You said how I'm feeling. That's exactly how I'm feeling.
There you go. If you want to find yourself, ladies and gentlemen, just find a good shirt, and then all of a sudden you'll be enlightened. Exactly. It's like Confucius on a fortune cookie. Okay, a pink shirt. That's I assume is buttoned down. Hey, man,
mixtape.
Jacob, I'm glad you're finding yourself, brother. Hey, find yourself a good shirt. That's the moral of the story for today. Life lesson from Jacob MVPR. Let's go ahead and start today by looking at yesterday's results. And Jacob, I want to get a little bit of insight from you, brother, because Fury 1 get a victory over Rebel. And I know Colin and Blaze were pumped up. I was pumped up because that Fury 1 roster, Jacob, have worked very hard to get that victory.
No, it was actually a very hard and well-deserved win. When you look at it, though, Fury 1 always one of those teams that can take teams by storm, surprise him in the early goings of the series, but they have that struggle usually of being able to kind of close out those games. I don't think yesterday was that. On the other side, though, Rebel, history repeats itself. Like, we're not going to go to history class because it's too boring. I don't want to go dig in deep in that one, but inconsistency has always been their weakness, and then it just strikes again.
And two notes as well that's going to be very important for our first series. Casa de Papel, they take a map off of E United. I believe that was Training Grounds, Escalation, and then you got Hive versus Abuelos. Abuelos, a very talented roster, and Hive goes the distance, map number 5. So our first series today going to be super interesting. Pittsburgh Knights, though, with Gary taking Pioneers, as far as I'm concerned, the distance, even though it ends in map 4. So PK looking stronger than ever, but a big victory from KCP. Our Pro League standings after Day 5 results ended up shaking up a little bit, but Rise still on top at 4-0. And KCP and Pittsburgh Knights deadlocked at 4-1. Obviously, though, we do see the map win percentages there, or the head-to-head, excuse me. So KCP does have the head-to-head to Pittsburgh Knights, obviously. We go down the list, though. The only teams without a win, Casa de Papel and Hive, Jacob, and they're going to face off to start off the day. And let's take a look at our schedule for today, because we've got a lot of powerhouse matches, and today is going to set the tone, I think, for the rest of Pro League. Casa de Papel, Hive, two teams, Jacob, that have not received a win tonight. That is going to end, okay? I tried to set that up more dramatically, but I failed. It's okay. Team Queso will Rise, and then United and Rebel. It is going to be a great night. Which one stands out to you?
I mean, that first one, even though it doesn't necessarily stand out, so I'm not going to answer your question with my answer directly, but there's always one or two teams. There's always one matchup throughout the course of the split where it's the winless wonders going at it. They can kind of feel good about themselves, but the one that really kind of has me noticed or on the edge is E United versus Rebel. I think on paper, that one is kind of clear cut. Everyone might have their favorite, but I think on that match, we're going to have to throw that paper out the window and kind of get in depth just a little bit more, but that's a little bit later on in the day.
We also have our side station. Only one series taking place in the 7 Eastern time slot. It's going to be KCP versus Abuelos y sus Nietos. Did I nail that, Jacob? I really tried hard, brother. I've been okay, good. I've been trying to take how you say it and just bring it into my commentary. Give respect to the name, but Colin, his history pronouncing that name, still struggling a bit, Jacob. You got to help him out like you helped me.
Oh, God. I'm going to have to give him a history lesson, little language lesson there. But me and Colin, man, we play playing games all the time. We have enough time to kind of give it to him.
Absolutely. Well, hey, man, Jacob, be killing it not only in the language department, but also in the commentary department, and you got a fresh shirt. Today is just going to be a good day, and it's going to be a great day for you in chat because you still get your watch and win. Of course, that's going to be the Retro Lancer and the Lancer GL, and that's going to be those beautiful psychedelic skins tripping you out, tripping you up, potentially. I know it's tripping me up sometimes when I see it on the pro players' backs whenever they're rocking Pro League, Jacob.
Yeah, usually you kind of watch these pro players, you mix and match, kind of figure out what they're using. And usually sometimes that's like a little bit of a mental thing. This kind of gives me way back to Gears of War 1. Everyone has their favorite characters, right? I'm rolling out a spawn as Carmine day in, day out. But when I'm having a little bit of a slump, I would kind of switch it up, kind of reset my mental game. And the same thing with my weapon skins when I'm playing this one. If I don't want to switch up my character, I kind of switch it up, going from using Pittsburgh Knights, the Funky Monkey. Now this one is definitely going to get added to my rotation.
I was about to say, do you rock any other skin other than Funky Monkey, or is that
Pittsburgh
just
Knights.
the one that you're Pittsburgh Knights?
Fire Knights. I'm a Latin American fan, so I usually just gather Latin American skins.
Well, PK, great organization, and two great teams about to fight against each other. Again, both Casa de Papel as well as Hive, they have not received a win yet. And I say received, I should be saying earned a win at this point. A lot of great series that they've, had on station or side station, but again, winless. That changes tonight. We are towards the halfway point now of Pro League. I guess yesterday was the halfway point, but regardless, though, it's time to start getting those wins, Jacob, because relegation is going to come up quick.
Yeah, and for both of these guys, this is where those matchups, you have to win against each other. So one of these teams, I feel like with the loss, is almost going to get auto-relegated, even though you still have some more games. Anything can happen. You could pull up some big upset victories, but this is the one out of your entire schedule, at a halfway point, like you said, it has to be a W. You fall up short, it's no longer in your control. You're going to be hoping and praying other teams have a misfortunate day throughout the line, and it doesn't matter if you win or lose, you just can't control it anymore.
You can't, and you can't bank on the fact, too, that, one team is going to be performing badly. You just got to go into that series. You got to go into that series playing at the top of your game, and that's the only way to look at it. Let's talk about our first roster, Casa de Papel, Jacob. Notclaw, Danger, Sulfuls, Smokz. Now, relatively new, if you will, towards Pro League, but not new in Gears competitive. These guys have been competing for quite some time, more specifically for Gears 5, but a talented roster that when they played in the qualifier tournament to enter into Pro League, I was hugely impressed with them, and I think, at least at that time, I was saying Casa de Papel looks to be one of the strongest teams entering into Pro League, but without a win, clearly they've been struggling at adjusting.
Yeah, they're going to be struggling to adjust. These guys, unfortunately enough, usually there's one team that enters the Pro League and they kind of use it as a learning lesson. We've seen Fire and Ice a few seasons ago. We've seen so many different people enter the Pro League. They don't have the best results overall in the course of the season. They have great individual showings, but when it comes to the team, they just fall short. This is another one of those. Casa de Papel, hopefully, throughout their 0-5 journey to this point, they have learned so much and they put it to use, because even though they are 0-5, they still can have that upward sweep, catch momentum towards the end of the season, and then escape relegation.
Catch momentum. That's a big talking point for our next team. Obviously, that being Hive. When they were Wichita Wolves, they were hyped up. We had a lot of, I guess investment into them as a roster with Red9, Rocky, Pushyz, and Zoom. And obviously, Red9 relatively new, but this Hive roster, Jacob, I thought were going to be explosive in Split 3. They've been anything but, once again, 0-5, much like their competition tonight.
Yeah, the only explosive I know don't be playing Gears anymore. And these guys are not him. I can tell you that much. And I don't want to make that seem like a negative aspect, but we've been talking about it for years now. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but there's levels to this when it comes to Gears of War. These guys are phenomenal Gears of War players. You've seen them dominate the challenger scene, but something's just not clicking on that team level. When it comes to challengers, you can really have one player, you can have a duo, really break loose, really take over a game, and have that be your reason for victory. I think that's why you're seeing Kenny Bounce, Cells, Lava, and that roster perform so well in that challenger scene, because there's levels. They've been at the top. This roster, very, very same. So we're talking about it when I talked about Casa de Papel, must-win matchup. This is for Hive, a must-win, because even though they coming in with a lot of noise in the past, this is how you start to create that noise and create that momentum.
All right, without question, because if you have two teams that are 0-5 and you lose to that team that's 0-5, there's no going back at that point in time, and you're pretty much lost, and relegation's going to be hitting you pretty hard. And it might, even if one of these rosters win regardless, just because the competition is so good at this point. But let's go ahead and start moving into our pick and bans. We'll first take a look at the bans, and Ritual, District, Checkout, Aethera, Vaskar, all out of the way. I do like, on a personal level, that we won't be seeing Vaskar. We've been seeing it a lot, so the outlier maps are going to be Training Grounds and Harbor. Which one we get, still to be seen.
I'm hoping we get Harbor. I don't really like Training Grounds too much, but then again, these are two teams to where they don't have the depth of strategy. They're going to be fighting fire with fire. That's what you're going to see in this matchup a lot. So I'm hoping we see a Clocktower. I think we might see, a Tomb kind of bust out, but we're not going to have to wait long. We see Regency is going to be map number 1. Clocktower, I love Clocktower. My favorite map in the bunch. Training Grounds, I like it. Speyer. Ooh, Speyer and Regency in the same cycle. I kind kind of like it, but at the same time, if you lose Regency, you're going to have to make some overall adjustments to your game plan going into Speyer. Even though they're not the exact same match, the blueprint and the foundation of how to play them is all the same.
So Casa de Papel, I remember them playing during relegation, or at least the tournament to get into Pro League, and their teamwork was great. So Speyer could be a fantastic map for them. That's why they pick it clearly. My only concern is Hive. They picked Training Grounds Escalation, Jacob. Training Grounds was played last night on Side Station between E United and Casa de Papel, and Casa de Papel beat E United there 5-3, and they had a lot of pop-off players, Danger, Sulfuls, Smokz, all dropping 20 bombs, and everybody above 22,000 damage, which clearly means to me that Casa de Papel know their lanes, they lock it down well, and even E United couldn't beat Casa de Papel on TG. High picks that map. They would have been probably better off picking Harbor. They might have been better picking off Fastcar, but at least as far as I'm concerned, Jacob, they picked map number 3, the best map for Escalation for the team of Casa de Papel. So that's going to be a tough one, which makes map 1 and map 2 a must-win for Hive.
Yeah, I like it, what you're kind of talking about, what you're breaking down, but kind of going into it. And even though this isn't exact, this would be my mindset if I was kind of Hive going into the picks and bans, and this one kind of lays out and it comes to fruition in front of me. There's 2 steps you really got to think about that is probably going through Hive's mind here while they go through this process. Is 1, how confident are they as an individual team on that map? Take out all that noise around, the white noise of the other teams performing, how well, how not well they are. And then 2, you got to think, do they believe lightning can strike twice?
I don't know.
At the end of the day,
strike twice,
you know what I mean?
In the same spot, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, E United versus Casa de Papel, they could play that map 10 times, and I think that's the one time Casa de Papel will beat E United on Training Grounds Escalation.
That's true. And you know what's interesting? Our top teams have been doing really well when it comes to control and execution, which is where we expect them to do well. But for some reason, Escalation has been the sticking point against some of our bottom end rosters who, maybe 6 through 10, who continue to beat our top echelon rosters on Escalation. So it's kind of interesting. Before, you wouldn't see the bottom end teams, even compete on Escalation, or at least if they would compete, they still wouldn't win. But in Split 3, it's quite common to see teams like Hive or Casa de Papel play E United or play Pittsburgh Knights or whoever you pick, and they get a victory on Escalation. So it's kind of that outlier map. Map number 3 tends to turn series around. But Jacob, we got an important point. Who are you going with, brother, right? We got 2 distinct teams here and 2 teams that are, winless. So you don't have history to pick from, but who are you going to pick ultimately?
I mean, this one kind of boils down to something I said throughout kind of breaking it down, and I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to keep it sweet. I think this one's going to come down to haymaker for haymaker. There's going to be 2 heavyweights at the center of the ring, fighting fire blow for blow. I think Hive is going to be able to kind of edge it out just a little bit over Casa de Papel. If this goes 5 maps or 3, it doesn't matter. I think Hive is going to throw the last punch.
And I'm going to be going with Hive as well, Jacob. And the reason why, I believe their series, they went the distance with Abuelos. Abuelos has proven to be a talented roster that has taken our top tier teams to the brink and at times could have beat them. So therefore, going to a Game 5 against Abuelos should have gave Hive the confidence they needed. And that was just last night. So hopefully they don't take that as like, oh man, we lost. I hope they take that as, okay, we can actually compete. We are a talented bunch and we can beat anybody out there. So I'm going with Hive this time around. Chat, who are you going with? Hive, Casa de Papel. It's a tough one, and it's going to be Hive across the board. Casa de Papel, it's up to you to prove us wrong.
Yep, getting their stingers ready to try to go ahead and find a weak link on that roster. And I think very, very early on Regency, if players aren't on the same page, especially the inexperienced players that we have in front of us without a win so far. And I say inexperienced because if you look at them, if you look at their history, they don't have a long-lasting history in the Pro League. It has nothing to do with their actual mechanics in the game. So when I say like the experience to me is really going to hurt these guys if they put themselves into a hole early and they don't find that opening spot to get the pick. And so it could find themselves in a hole after 2 hills without a chance to kind of fight out of it. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see the decisions, the calls that are be made by both the players on rotation, but the IGLs in terms of setting up as well.
Well, Jacob, map number 1 is loaded in, and we got Regency Map number 1. This is where you want to put your 10 toes down, put your feet down, plant them, and say, hey, we're not losing this series. And for Hive, again, I'm going to stand by it. Maps 1 and map 2. You know, they don't need to win both of them, but they for sure need to win one of them, because that victory against the United, even though, Jacob, you bring up a great point. You know, you can have a team play them 10 times on a certain map. In this case, Casa de Papel versus the United on training grounds 10 times. And Casa de Papel, they'll get one over them, every once in a while. But that was the case yesterday. So map 3 is going to be a big sticking point. If Hive goes down 2-0, I'm going to be very concerned. But map 1, I mean, like I said, put your 10 toes down, baby, and just make it happen. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But again, Casa de Papel's teamwork really does make the dream work, Jacob. That's something that Hive has to battle against.
Oh, I love that. Teamwork making the dream work. And you say, if you go down early, put yourself in a hole. The inexperienced players might have the mental toughness to bounce out of it, and that's why that first blood, setting yourself up, is going to be so important. Sulfuls goes down. A couple of exchanges going down all around, but it looks like it's going to be Casa de Papel sitting pretty in the hill.
All right, Red Knight, the new addition here. Really, standout player for Hive as far as I'm concerned. His stats, they kind of prove that. So I expect a lot from him. Sulfuls with the M-bar, though, could be quite scary. He is going to spot Zoom on that cover. He'll throw out his smoke, but he's quite hesitant to push in. He doesn't maybe feel as confident, but also if he pushes in, he's kind of by himself, because Casa de Papel seem to be very one-sided and focused on spawn control, but even then they're not getting anywhere because Hive sees it. They're shutting them down one by one. This has been a very dominant start for Hive.
I want to say somebody's lagging out right now.
Already?
Somebody's not moving. Who just got chunked? Was it Sulfuls?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Gears Pro League Split 3, Day 6. I'm Taylor Reflections. We're joined by Jacob Vivi PR. We've had that reset. Again, for Hive, they need 257 points. On the opposite end for Casa de Papel, they need 298. You'll see that in your top left above where the normal points go. We saw Hive have a dominant initial before the restart. I'm curious if we'll see much the same this time around. And Jacob, it looks as if we will. Sulfuls, he doesn't get first blooded, but just about everybody dies, forcing Notclaw to back all the way up, try and control mid. And it's literally almost an identical start that we had before the restart.
There was like one minor adjustment. Hive said, we won that one so easy, let's get more aggressive this time around, and it actually worked out for them. They sent 4 players towards the outside, they rotated 1 in late, and then immediately they get control of the hill, and they're trying to fight for this next spawn point. Good thing for Casa de Papel that the M-bar is in the hands of Smokz. They're trying to go ahead and get these elims and anchor down this spot, but there goes that first elim. Wolfpack, instant revive. Smokz goes down. A perfect start for Hive yet again.
A flawless start. I mean, they got 43 points before the restart. Now they have 42. The benefit for Casa de Papel is Notclaw gets a great kill onto Pushyz, but he's now getting sandwiched. Rope-a-dope. He's going to end up falling, and despite the heroics from Notclaw, a good kill, it's not going to amount too much, to be honest. Hive are going to be in great control of the next hill. You got a couple of moving pieces. Danger and Notclaw, they're going to be able to attack from that top end. From the bottom end, you've got Sulfuls and Smokz. They'll try to force out Zoom and co, but I don't know. Are they going to be successful? We'll find out shortly. A big battle for the hill is underway.
Yep, 2v2 on the actual hill with kind of trades going back and forth. Smokz trying to stay alive. He's stuck in a 1v2. He's going to drop. Great distraction, though, for his teammates who are already going to win that hill and get it underneath their control, but the spawn point goes over to Hive. They're going to get reinforcements there, so Casa de Papel have to play their cards right if they're looking to defend this hill, because Hive is overthrowing the backside.
Throwing the backside, but Casa de Papel do have the front side. So again, that gives them an opportunity to gain points. They have at least made it relatively even, 27-47, not counting, of course, the points still needed before the reset. But Hive will regain control. Well done from Rocky and Red 9. Rocky specifically to pick up 2. But either way, for Casa de Papel, how much time? 40 seconds remain, so I think they need to give it one more go. And Sulfuls waiting for the M-bar. He'll back away. He'll actually give it to Smokz. So fair enough. Now to fight for about 30 seconds remains. Casa de Papel, if they fell this, they got to give it up.
Rags towards the backside. Stop any Lancer Fire from coming in, but it's going to be Duds. Done able to connect with any elim. Smokz tries to take things into his own hand. He connects with 1, but 3 players of Hive still going to rack up that point. They're going to stand tall and force them back yet again. Smokz going to go down once, but he's going to be able to get up, shrug that one off, and try to back up to set up for this next hill where Hive, they're not letting a single player out of their sight.
You can't let a single player out of the side. And Hive is doing the right thing. They're keeping that gas pedal pressed to the floor. They're not pumping the brakes at all. And you got to do that against Casa de Papel. You have to know that, look, we're both 0-5, but one team has to plant their feet and say, I'm not really 0. Like, I'm 0-5 in record, but that's not going to represent what I'm going to bring to the table here. Okay, you got to take me seriously. But look at that kill feed. Danger picking up 2, leaving Rocky and Zoom to fight now for the hill, but they're not going to be able to do much because they're split, so they have no choice but to wait. Casa de Papel in control.
60 seconds on the clock. Enough time for Casa de Papel not only to take the lead, but kind of give themselves about a 10 to 15-point cushion to start to make a rotation all at the same time. But it comes down to this with Hive putting 3 players towards the bottom half, smoking that cross angle, trying to make it easier, smoking on the actual hill itself. Counter flash coming out from Casa de Papel to try to stall, buy some time. Sulfuls, he's going to land that first shot, followed up by Smokz, who gets a double down. Eliminations start to get cleaned up, and Casa de Papel looking strong on the hold. But Hive, they find an elimination and a hole of their own. If they can find some more eliminations to kind of back it up, that will be good. But Casa de Papel holding true to their defense and the point total.
Yeah, well done from them. Maybe we're going to see a reawakening. You know, they've got some points they need to recover, but now they bring it 82-82, which puts them technically 43 points behind that of Hive. So this just got a lot more even, Jacob. I'm here for it. This next hill could very well be the turning point for Casa de Papel.
Yeah, I don't think either one of these teams really have that complete setup we look for, especially, you know, from teams like the Pioneers, Rise, Pittsburgh Knights. These guys get a little scrappy. They like to fight, and right there, that's going to be a good fight for Rocky. Takes a big 1v1 against Smokz while getting crossed in the back, and he gets his teammate there just in the nick of time, and now both of them are going to try to survive. Rocky being pushed back, all 4 members in front of him. I don't even know if he spotted that out, but if he did, that's vital information to pass on over.
Nice shot from Rocky. That's going to kill Sulfuls. He'll pull out the Nasher, but he's getting angled out. He's forced to back away and puts himself in really the firing lane, but Pushyz handles it quite well. He gets the pickup and then immediately kills Notclaw to give Hive a definitive control. And Rocky, well, it was worth it to get him back into the fight. Beautiful 2-piece. Watch your flank, though. Sulfuls, he'll pick up 2 for himself. Will he get a 3rd and a 4th? Well, with that miss input, he will not. Hive still in control despite the heroics of Sulfuls.
Yeah, but just blow for blow. They get eliminations. The next guys kind of step up to the plate. Reinforcements are slow to rotate on over. Not even letting them kind of enter this fight over back towards the M-bar. Down after down. Revive after revive going to be forced. Hive doing a good job of not letting anybody up. But Sulfuls yet again, he gets one. Trying to keep this hill contested. It's going to be important, but crosses over the top. It's going to be too much, and Hive will win yet again. Another team fight to start racking up that scoreline. But you can kind of see what Casa de Papel is thinking here. They're thinking of the future, and they're starting to go next.
That's what they have to do. Casa de Papel's been doing a great job rotating early on, at least on a couple of hills, and that's why they've kept it competitive. Without question, though, you know, their braking power isn't really there. Pushyz just beelines it straight past Danger. Zoom thinks it's clear because, well, one of my teammates got through, but unfortunately for him, it wasn't. Luckily, Pushyz for Hive will recover and get an elimination. Smokz, though, he's been playing incredibly well. We saw him pick up a massive play before, but this time around, he will not. And even though Casa de Papel, Jacob, they rotate early on, Hive just as quickly break the defensive setup, and they've got the fresh hill for themselves.
Yeah, right now, the team needs to be able to rotate on over to Danger, especially with those frag grenades. That's the spawn point. We see it all too often. You're able to get into a fight, you die, you get into the respawn and the fight much faster. And it looks like I
warned you.
Yeah.
Nice. Who's that? Who's that?
Right.
Is that Notclaw?
It's all right, because at the end of the day, you got to admit, Casa de Papel has came out a little bit stronger, but twice. The first one, it was only 1 hill where Hive, they were able to get that lead about, 43-2. Once again, 139-84. So even with these resets and Casa de Papel keeping it close, keeping it competitive, you can see Hive, they have the strategy, they have the overall setups to give themselves not 1, but 2 different leads.
I think Casa de Papel has done a great job, you know, for multiple reasons. The rotations have been solid. We've seen some great pop-up plays from Sulfuls, you know, in that 2-piece that he received right after Rocky was popping off with the M-bar on Statue. But, you know, all of the stalemates, though, they do take away, you have to assume, but it looks like we're just going to play this out potentially. I mean, there are some kills coming through, and we're going to see Casa de Papel try to go in for the break. Hive, hopefully they were ready for it. Casa de Papel seem to be making some headway, and the kill feed will be lighting up a bit red and blue, and it seems like Casa de Papel will take over the hill, awkwardly enough. So 20 seconds remain there. Hive, I guess they'll cut their losses and just rotate out.
Nah, that was the strat. That was the strat right there. It's like when you're watching football and they fake hike the ball and they just walk it into the end zone. Casa de Papel, they just typed in chat, ready, and just started playing. Not giving Hive that chance. Got the elims, but now Hive, you know they're going to come out angry. You know they're going to have some sort of answer for everything that happens. Zoom goes down, but just for a brief second, like a commercial break, some might say.
I think the thing for Hive is they just got to keep their head in the game. Like, they've been winning this. They were winning before the first restart. They were winning after the second restart. They now need to win after technically the third, restart, at least game pause. So for Hive, they just got to stay grounded and not get tilted from that, because as a competitor, that could be quite frustrating. But things do happen, and what a shock that is from Rocky. Talk about getting your money's worth. That's going to take down 2. The third will fall, and Hive doesn't seem to be too rattled. In fact, they might just be a little bit angry, and I don't blame them. Danger in a 1v2. He'll go ahead and misroll for his death, and Hive will continue to gain those points. Now less than 100 points away from victory.
Frag grenades coming up. You see 2 players darting over. Pushyz trying to put the shots, but 1 versus 2, you're not going to get too much damage, especially with the bait and switch going down. You can see in your mini-map, he's trying to rotate on over. Everybody knows with 45 seconds, you pick up those frags. You know exactly where you're going to go, but somebody's hiding, playing perfect, waiting patiently. That's Red9, waiting for that opportunity to strike, but he's not going for it just yet. He actually switches on over to his Lancer and begins to put it to use. 1 down is going to go in, but he actually cleans him up along with Rocky. That Lancer damage only means so much until you pull out a shotgun, and they pull it out at the perfect moment to cement themselves on the hill yet again.
Jacob, did you notice Rocky is 20-3, brother? That man is 20, and yeah, he's 20-3. That's insane. With, granted, Hive clearly have been outslaying Casa de Papel, but by no means did I think Rocky would be playing that well to go with only 3 deaths. I mean, you look at the rest of the lobby, 10, 9, that seems to be the normalcy, but no, 20-3, fantastic work, and you even got somebody on Hive who has 20 assists as well. Coming into this series, I complimented Casa de Papel for their teamwork, but clearly Hive are superior in that regard. In fact, if you look at Casa de Papel, none of them breaking 10 assists. Meanwhile, Hive doing incredibly well in their own right. So I gotta say, I'm impressed with Hive. I really am. Smokz being a detriment, though, from the flank with the M-bar. He'll connect a couple bodies and finally a heady. But either way, we're back at the start where Hive was so successful before the restart and after.
Oh my God, the turnaround Pushyz. He just embarrasses Danger. Zoom comes in, the 1-2 punch combo. These guys are not giving up. They're not letting up off the pressure. Doesn't matter how many technical difficulties, how many pauses. These guys got enough gas left in the tank for more than 1 road trip.
I hope they do, man, because they're about to drive pretty far to the victory lane, brother, because Hive have been in control this entire game without question. But maybe an answer back from Casa de Papel. The first time they've successfully broken roses. They haven't done it. We've seen it, officially 3 times, and Hive dominated it every single time. In fact, the only points Casa was able to get off of roses is when Hive effectively rotated out. So Casa de Papel, great break, but the reality is still a lot to catch up. They need to hit 298, and they're only at 143, where Hive, they're at 220. They need 257, which puts them 37 points away, and they're already fighting for next. This next hill could be the end of Casa.
That was a great shot. That was great play by Red9, baiting his teammate, even though it wasn't necessarily a bait call. It's just that bait and switch, using the situation to perfection, and then even not letting his teammate go down. Notclaw getting that shock from the bottom side of the map. They're trying to take over the spawn point, then move deeper in, but a first down is going to come out. Pushyz contesting the end bar. He has the cross, he has the flank, he has the first shot, everything to take down Danger and really cement his team. 27 points to go, and Hive will take the victory.
Pushyz going to go in and pick up that fresh M-bar. Casa de Papel, they got to get to work, and they got to get to work quickly. Now 17 points away from victory is going to be Hive, and I love that Rocky, he's setting up with those nades. He knows there's only 1 player. He'll get some pepper damage, but it's not going to be enough. Now just nearly 10 points away. it is in fact going to be Hive locking it in. You have to assume the final couple of kills will come through, and this will end technically 300 to 151 in favor of Hive. A very successful map number 1, brother.
Bro, they look like the big bad wolf going over to the 3 little pigs, and they just blew their house down. It didn't matter how many setups they had. They just did not outlast Hive, and that's the thing. Against a team like Hive, you cannot go ahead and let up off the gas in terms of your strategy, in terms of the smart. You cannot get dragged into their style of play. Once it gets scrappy, Hive has you exactly where they want you, right into the nest of the bees.
And look, connection issues happen, okay? We can't take anything away from Casa de Papel. 2 restarts, incredibly frustrating. And Hive didn't get tilted, and that impresses me. You know, Hive said, that's fine, okay. You know, you took that 1 hill off of us, off that, you know, pseudo restart. That's cool. But Hive, they still stuck it through, and as far as I'm concerned, they dominated that map number 1 despite the issues. So incredible job from Hive, and really good job from Rocky. Last time we looked at him, I think he was 20-3. He finishes 24-5, 18,000 damage done. He had the most in the entire lobby, plus he was getting those caps and breaks, and inside the hill himself, he had the most objective kills. When he's in that hill, he's picking up tremendous kills, and we saw that represented with the M bar over on statue. I think it's right here. That was the first one he gets, Jacob. He doubles back.
11-0,
He's picked back up, and 12-0 at this point. That's incredible. 13-0.
Ah, come on, Sulfuls, the only player that really kind of stopped this run. That was a good one too. This highlight, back to back, he ends up the driving force yet again. Man, you saw the eyebrow moments ago. Do you smell what Rocky is cooking? He's cooking up a victory today.
He must be, man. Again, Rocky is just on fire, but I'm getting flashbacks of the old Rocky, you know, like not Rocky the movie. I'm talking about Rocky from Pro League back in the day. That where he was just such a talking point every time you watched him on screen. He just slayed out. He was so nasty, and I mean, even at one point, rocking the Talon and doing it so incredibly well. Back before it was really even meta, but Rocky is an incredible player, and that's what made me excited when he was on Wichita Wolves. Now, obviously on Hive, to see Rocky drop numbers like that does scare me for Casa de Papel, because numbers like that don't come easy. But Rocky at times is making it look easy.
Yeah, no, he definitely does. That's what you want to do, is you can kind of see a lot of the stats really showed that they were leaning into Rocky. And I don't want to make that sound like Rocky was the end-all be-all, because it was still a team effort, but you see a lot of the assists kind of high on a lot of players, but the eliminations high on the side of Rocky. They're making sure to shoot for each other. They're making sure he doesn't enter any fights by himself, but you guys kind of saw the box score. Next map up is going to be Clocktower Execution. The reason why I love this map so much, because you could play down low, get over aggressive, grab the flanks, backtracks, continue on with the flank, go up top, play aggressive, play for the sniper. There's so many options here, and I think Casa de Papel, they need some of those options.
I just worried about Casa de Papel because they weren't breaking the hills on Regency. Granted, Control Execution, 2 different stories. We see Control and Execution play totally different. One team slays out in Control. They don't slay out in Execution. But I do think Hive's slaying capability, specifically Rocky, is absolutely going to translate over towards Clocktower, especially because we're going to see those 4v4 fights up top potentially. But I love your point about dropping low, going for the torque, going for the nades, and going for the flank, which I think Hive is going to play around with a bit. But the point that I'm getting at is you see the central push, and that's going to be on Sniper, obviously, right, Jacob? And Hive, to me, with their slaying power and teamwork, assist alone, that's going to make them the favorite team to get in, get the Sniper, and get out. And I don't know if we're going to see an answer from Casa de Papel.
I'm hoping we get an answer, only because this map allows you so much freedom, like I said, to run different strategies, but it allows your opponent that same amount of freedom, the same amount of flexibility, as you can kind of see already. Hive waiting for that smoke to dissipate, throwing a second one towards the back line. Rocky yet again. Who would have guessed he's going to be the tip of the spear here?
He has to be. You know, he knows that, especially now, Jacob. So he's taking that into notes and popping heads, whether it's M-bar or Sniper. He translates well, and that's going to be first blood, followed by a big body. Rocky wants to capitalize off this, and I like that he's pushing it. He knows that body shot is enough to back away that player, so now he can take priority down low. Casa de Papel are trapped.
Yep. Basically kind of have them stuck between a rock and a hard place. Either way they go to try to push either one of these duos, it's down a straight corridor, long hallway. You're going to get crossed out just like that. The remaining players, Zoom, and I do believe that might have been Pushyz, kind of holding that top angle, not letting a single player across unscathed. Hive will continue the momentum they built off of map number 1 and take round number 1 here on Execution Clocktower.
Beautiful shot from Rocky. Lines it up perfectly. Sulfuls is nearly out of frame there, but Rocky times it perfectly. That body shot as well to back him up was fantastic. It really was. Beautifully executed first round for Hive. Casa de Papel, they weren't competitive in that first one, but will they be competitive in the second one? Well, it starts with shutting down Rocky. Maybe not. Casa de Papel, they're going to take initiative. They're going to push forward. But look at Rocky like a bat out of hell, brother, getting a couple of shots. Sulfuls will miss his chunk. And Rocky will capitalize by getting that first blood, at least for Hive. But quickly answer from Casa de Papel. Zoom last alive. He'll be finished. And Casa de Papel will answer in round 2 to win their first round to bring it 1-1.
And this is just a feeling, right? I'm going to let you know what I'm about to say is just a feeling based off of map number 1, based off of that play by Sulfuls right there. To start this next round, I look at him, even though he's not on land, I look at him and say, bro, where do you want to push to? Do you want to push across? Do you want the sniper? You want to go down low? And I play off of him because right now, he is the guy that is making a lot of the offensive plays for Casa de Papel.
All right, round number 3. Let's see how this is going to end up unfolding. Rocky this time around knows, okay, Casa de Papel, they're pushing forward. Get sniper once again, but it doesn't mean they're going to get out. That's a great push from Pushyz. He's going to pick up a couple, but unfortunately, one of those players was Rocky. The team kill will come through, and Casa de Papel, just like that, despite a great push from Hive, they've got the man advantage.
Zoom. I did not know he was going to get the headshot. He was a little slow to Lancer out Smokz, and he's definitely regretting that decision there. But she's putting all that fire down, unable to get the actual down on the player. Back-to-back frags. He gets shot up once by Danger, forcing him to backtrack, but he actually traps himself towards the inside. A player's going to stay up top to keep that angle intact, and Pushyz is going to get dropped, and Casa de Papel will chain together back-to-back rounds here, and a real different look from this squad.
And tough break, though, for Pushyz to kill Rocky like he did with that team kill. Like, you don't need to see that in those chaotic moments, because before that, Pushyz was getting some tremendous eliminations, but just like that with the team kill, it's a 3v2, and on top of that, Casa de Papel, they've got sniper and back pillar. We got a little bit of a pause. We have Danger, who unfortunately ends up lagging out. So you never know what you're gonna get. You know, you walk in, it could smell great. It could
clean
smell
funk.
clean funk. Okay, it's like, were you ever in the military, Jacob? I don't think you were.
All the time. Yeah.
Stop it. Okay, you weren't. But there's one thing about the military. When you clean the barracks, you just, the way that you know that it's clean is when you just spray and just spread pine salt everywhere, all right? And it smells like pine salt to the point where you're about to pass out. You have the cleanest barracks, all right? Who can relate to me, or who can relate to that in chat? Let me know. We're underway, guys, for a little bit anyways. Let's see if we continue this forward. Hive off the restart does get first blood, but Rocky with that sniper, we saw him put it to great use. And with only 2 players from Casa de Papel up, Notclaw and Danger, this might be a round where Hive wins.
Yeah, I really don't know what the play was by Smokz. He went on a full-on flank and tried to charge him with a shotty. The rest of the team might not have gotten the memo to play aggressive, distract the player. They made easy work of that first pick, and then from there, it's just too separated. Danger has to take this 1v1 down low. He gets Lancered up before he even reaches Pushyz. And then he just continues with that support fire. Hive playing that round picture perfect after that pause.
All right, and again, we talk about the pauses, and sometimes, you know, with execution being as quick as it can be, you know, as fast as it can be, sometimes you need a pause, which we might have. Okay, but you know, sometimes you need a pause to just think things through, and Hive clearly are able to adjust accordingly. So another live round. We're going into round number 5. We've seen Casa de Papel take initiative on sniper. We've seen Hive do the same. Who's going to do it this time around? It seems to be Casa. Well, actually, a bit of a mixture of both. Pushyz getting hugely aggressive.
Yep, gets the down. That's actually going to be a team down for Stout. Notclaw immediately connects with the headshot. Down after down. Players forcing the revive on out. Great smoke to try to cloud out, but a little too late. Red 9's going to fall regardless. Zoom deletes Sulfuls, but the numbers from the very beginning became too much since that initial first blood. And there goes a 3-2. Great comeback from Casa de Papel, especially after that map number 1 that we saw.
So Pushyz getting aggressive like he did. I like the play, but the sniper was already gone. Was there any benefit for Pushyz to continue being the aggressor in that fight?
I think, yeah, you got to always try to be the aggressor. You got to have to try to follow up on it. And if your teammates aren't there, there's a big problem. There's a misstep.
All right, well, that's a big round from Casa de Papel. This time around, Hive is going to be a bit more aggressive, pushing Casa back, including Pushyz, once again, being very aggressive. But Sniper, no one's picked it up at this point in time, and all that aggression for what? Just to get first blooded. Casa de Papel now with the advantage, but that could quickly change. I'm loving the cover fire from Hive. Even though Casa de Papel gets first blood, it doesn't mean that they're going to be comfortable, but this reset should surely help.
I love this right now. Casa de Papel playing strategy first. Immediately back off of that line, realizing Hive, they have to get aggressive. They have to do something here. And with the amount of space, you see Sulfuls back and tracking, trying to make sure to Wolfpack with the rest of the team and keep the numbers advantage in favor. Pushy's going to get dropped. Zoom can't backtrack it fast enough to get the revive as Red9 just waiting. Perfect time to strike. He gets one, but the numbers still heavily in favor of Casa de Papel. Zoom gets one. Damage onto another player, trying to force them to split up into two different cases. He does it. Zoom does it. He gets another backtrack to get a big kill on the Notclaw, bringing a 3v1 into a 1v1.
Could be a big moment for Hive. This is a round that's, you know, they were at a bit of a disadvantage. Zoom pushes up, but is he going to just run right through Smokz? Well, not so much as Smokz fights back, but Zoom fights back even harder, and he's going to show a little bit of love before he takes him down. And honestly, he has every right to do so. That was a big round for Zoom.
I just, instead of an easy button, you know that car commercial? Zoom, zoom, zoom. That was him. That's 3 straight E. Oh my God, how does he even survive? Notclaw didn't trust his teammates. He back rolled right there after his teammate got chunked. You need to keep putting that damage out.
So, and that's something. Well, no, you're not, because, I mean, little moments, we talk about it all the time when it comes to Gears, specifically Pro League, excuse me, is that you make one little mistake. I mean, the team's going to capitalize off it, and a good example was what just happened, and Pushyz, for the first time, is going to be flanking around, but he is going to be sniffed out. It's still a 4v4. I'm amazed at this, but Sulfuls will pick up one, and the Notclaw will pick up the second, and Rocky is last alive, trying to pull off his best impression of Zoom. This time around, he won't be able to.
Yeah, great shutdown there, but just to kind of show the difference, even though that wasn't a round victory by Hive, you backtrack, if you guys are watching the VOD, to when, what was it? Danger was actually, no, it's Smokz, sorry, excuse me there. It was Smokz trying to make that same exact flank. His teammates weren't there. That allowed Zoom a free reign to look at him with the Lancer on the flank. This time around, the teammates were there. It's just missed shots really cost Hive a big opportunity in that round.
All right, 4-3, Casa de Papel, they lead the way. Big round for them, obviously, to tie this series up 1-1, heading into their best escalation map on training grounds. This time, though, it will be Casa de Papel getting out with the sniper. Hive, though, is pushed so far up that I don't think they can disengage. So Casa de Papel is just going to be forced to fight them out. We see a lot of trading of bodies, but ultimately, it's going to be a 2v1 now. The sniper from Notclaw will bring it into a 1v1, and Zoom, once again, this time around, you thought he struggled in a 1v3. Surely he doesn't struggle in a 1v2, and he clearly doesn't.
It's just crazy right now. I'm over here thinking about how quick he is. I get flashbacks of the Flash, man. The way Zoom is just speeding around the map like a speedster in his own mind. Years ago, we had Speedy. We used to call him Barry Allen. Now we have Zoom. What is going on? Speedsters invading Gears of War.
Love it. I do. I really do. Plays like that can absolutely swing the momentum back in your favor when you know you got to deal with Zoom like that. I mean, you're struggling to deal with one player, let alone the rest of the roster. But speaking of which, that narrative is gone. Casa de Papel answer back succinctly. Incredible performance, and that will be a flawless round to put them at map point, Jacob.
Flawless round, indeed. Like you said, map point. So for Hive, they need a big answer back. They need back-to-back rounds. And honestly, I think they need to go back to the bread and butter. Try to get the sniper in the hands of Rocky or Pushyz. Switch later on if you have to. And then play from there. A lot of the rounds where they're playing aggressive, they're going over that 50% mark, are the rounds that they're losing. They're playing right into the House of Paper's hands.
All right, will Hive send it to a round 11? Our first round 11 today. Well, we'll find out very shortly. Some around Casa de Papel again, going for the sniper, answered back by Hive's aggression, but they'll get first blood this time around, but they don't get the sniper, and they will, in fact, lose at least one member. Love the Lancer fire, but that's going to be all she wrote. Back away. You're not gaining anything again. And Jacob, do you think we see a second battle for sniper, or is this going to be all up the Nashers?
I'm just looking at Pushyz. He still has a flash left. That's the only utility in the game right now. So I think there's going to be an opportunity, whether they're baiting it out, trying to go for something, but I think Smokz, the sniper was on the ground. Smokz was able to go in and escape with it. Now that utility play for it is going to go on over to Casa de Papel. You already heard the flash get tossed on the other side. Frag grenades being picked up by Danger. Casa de Papel setting themselves up for what could be a big victory in map number 2.
They could isolate player 7. The only worry is, though, you got Smokz, who is sitting across the way with the sniper. So maybe Red 9 lancers him down, or at least lancers him enough to allow 2 players on the left, which would be, in this case, Pushyz and Zoom, maybe to isolate, but not going to be a strategy any longer, as Casa de Papel will bunch together and Wolfpack together on the opposite end. So we have a bit of a stalemate, which is good for Hive in a way, because it allows them to kind of think things through, but they've got a lot to work through. Now, danger for Smokz, though. He's got to be careful. He takes a ton of damage there, manages to get away. If he drops in that moment, Casa de Papel could have lost this round.
Still, everything on the shoulders. Everything. Frag grenade perfectly tossed. Zoom has to back up. Teammates going to be separated yet again. Red 9 have no choice but to go forward. Overtime starting in 7 seconds. Danger with a big stop. Backtracking in his steps, trying to play it to perfection. Zoom, though, he has to make the play, and he does yet again. Back up against the wall. Overtime clicking. They're sitting in the hill. It's going to get stopped. The Casa de Papel, though, win by elimination 6-4 and tie up the series at 1 map apiece.
Well done from them, and that's going to be a massive win to tie up the series 1-1. And Casa de Papel making things fun and interesting in more ways than one, but you got to appreciate them winning this execution. It was a battle for sure. Hive had their moments, but so did Casa de Papel, and they're going to have the final moment. Ladies and gentlemen, the series is tied up 1-1. Coming up next is going to be Training Grounds Escalation. You don't want to miss out. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Gears Pro League Split 3, Day 6. 2 maps down. We're deadlocked 1-1 between Casa de Papel and Hive. Map 1 goes to the way of Hive, 300-151 on Regency. Clocktower, 6-4. But, I mean, it had a lot of spectacular moments, Jacob.
Yeah, a lot of spectacular moments, like Zoom clutching not once, but twice. And in that 1v3, let me tell you, that was such, it was simple, but it was so beautiful. Straight shotgun plays, movement to perfection. And Zoom got to be feeling great, but also kind of down because you lost the map at the end of the day.
Isn't that tough? Like, you drop 15k damage, you obviously pop off and clutch so many rounds, and this was that moment. He picks up one just a little bit earlier. There's the second, and then he has his way with Smokz a little bit later. I mean, Zoom, we called him the Swiss Army knife in the past on previous rosters, but I mean, he is, at least at this point, he might not be even a Swiss Army knife. He might just be a knife in general, brother, because I mean, he is cutting away at the competition. Even there, a 1v2, he makes it happen.
Yeah, because they're scared to death. They're shook because ain't no such things as halfway pro gamers. There ain't such thing at all. You have to push that 1v3. You don't even play Reflections, and you would have pushed that 1v3.
You have to.
Sorry, I mean, if you're on Casa de Papel's side. You would have pushed it through a melee.
I don't even have thumbs,
you would have sneezed on him. You would have been trying to kick, throw an elbow. I really don't get why they backrolled. But they still won it at the end of the day, so let me...
Yeah, I mean, they still won it, but I mean, at what cost? At what cost? Okay, 1v3 is... I guess the key takeaway from that is Casa de Papel, they do win that clock tower, but they don't win it in a... Well, it's sort of convincing, but I mean, they win it, but they do make a lot of mistakes. So something they're going to have to, you know, still work on in the future, especially getting close to major time, because that's not going to fly against, you know, Pittsburgh Knights. It's not going to fly against Rise, E United, KCP, right? You take your pick of who you want to throw in their Rebel, but it did work, at least in that second map against Hive. So now we're heading in to map number 3, Jacob, Training Grounds, a map that Casa de Papel beat E United on 5-3 just last night on Side Station. So at this point in time for Hive, The reality is they could very well be taking a 2-1 back seat in this series. But if they can win this one, you can make the argument about how good Hive really is on training grounds. But I put Casa de Papel as the favorite in map 3.
I'm kind of thinking Hive just has a feeling. Casa de Papel showing the real deal when it comes to training grounds, but can a lightning strike twice? Casa de Papel open this up with a little bit of a trick strat, trying to do something different, getting that neutral underneath their control, leaving Smokz by himself to try to handle crosses from danger though. Double downs. Smokz trying to stay alive, playing the corner perfectly. There's only so much one man can do. Notclaw a little bit late to the fight, but he's holding his ground. Very, very similar, and the result will be the same as well. He's gonna get dropped. That home hill goes over to Hive.
It's hard to maintain, though, home hill to home hill, but you see Hive, they do stack up 3 strong to maintain a. Sulfuls looking to break away, though, at the defensive setup of Hive. He's looking to make some moves from down low. Meanwhile, you got Notclaw and Smokz who's going to be pushing into the hill. Rocky needs to be aware that he's about to get sideswiped. He turns around just in the nick of time. He will drop. Red9 will get him back up, and it's still going to be a 3v2 and make that a little bit more difficult as Danger joins into the mix, making it a 4v2, and Rocky and Red9 will lose their lives. So now it's damage control time. Hive, are they going to be able to maintain their home hill? They might not be able to. Casa de Papel win overlook. In fact, Casa de Papel might be pushing all 3 hills shortly.
I feel like Smokz needs to know here, don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't get too greedy. When he takes a big bite out of Red9, and it looks like they're going to try to solidify the triple cap domination, leaves the hill just for a second to take out Rocky, make it that much harder. Zoom goes for another clutch play. He's going to get shut down yet again, as it looks like Casa de Papel trying to start off in a big round number 1 victory by taking out Pushyz and Red9 once more and take the round and start off 1-0.
And well done from them. That's a big round win off the start. Where was the turning point for you, Jacob?
Start of the round.
What? Just to start the round?
Start of the round. Because you got to realize, even though they did lose the home hill, look how much was invested on the side of Hive to hold on, to keep that home hill. Well, they just spawned up. They got taken up, but they just spawned up a few feet away. So it didn't take them long to get back into the fight and kind of make the right moves and the right adjustments.
All right, fair enough. Well, I'll be heading into round number 2 very shortly. Boltox are going to be on the map, clearly building up for instants or shocks, depending on what they like. Could be a conversation for Hive, though, if they do start taking, loss after loss, round after round. Maybe they place a power weapon down, whether it be on Overlook or down there in Cave. We'll find out which one it is going to be. But for Hive, they are going to commit 3 strong up top. Meanwhile, Casa de Papel, they're going to be committing 3 down low onto B, forcing Zoom out. The last time I seen this take place and really worked was when Pittsburgh Knights implemented it. And for Hive, committing 3 players over, but not getting anywhere. The Boltok, the Lancer shots from Notclaw. Beautiful adjustment from Casa de Papel to see what Hive was up to, read it accordingly, but the job's not done yet. You still got Pushyz you got to get through it. Even though we saw some great shot from Casa de Papel, could be derailed, but no, they hold on tight, Jacob.
Yep, you see Sulfuls not letting up off that cross from the middle of the map, puts himself into a great spot, but he needs his teammates there. Otherwise, he's going to be stuck in no man's land by himself. Flank coming through. Great cross from Smokz. Sulfuls goes down, but teammates are there left and right to try to save the day. Sulfuls, he's going to get eliminated, but I think everybody's doing their part. Damage is down, but not for long. Smokz moves in, gets the revive after they solidify the E-limbs. Hive, they're trying to put together a flank play of their own. Great shots from Pushyz, but how long can Rocky hold on? And he doesn't have it in him to kind of hold on to that push. Everybody's going to have to jumble and grab some sort of footing on the side of Hive.
All right, 2-1 hill advantage over for Casa de Papel. Let's see if they just, hold on to what they got. Not get overzealous, not try to go for everything, and just, like I said, just kind of pump the brakes a bit. Wouldn't be a bad thing to see. Their teamwork really is great, so I know they can hold on to the lanes. Smokz, though, has a big task ahead of them, and, well, the Lancer Fire, I was just talking and complimenting the team fire. Smokz gets some easy cleanup there, and the reason why is because Casa de Papel was laying down the Lancer Fire, but even still, Hive finds a way to kind of break through, but only for a short period of time. Casa de Papel very much in control of round 2.
Trying to breathe it in, see where these players are coming off a respawn. Of course, Hive, they're going to try to solidify their home hill. And for Casa de Papel, I like how they're setting up towards that side of the map. You're forcing players off of Hive to come off a respawn, take a little bit of that low ground, and kind of have to go up against Smokz, who's going to be sitting pretty, not much, and they're going to have to go down the hallway all the way. Rocky trying to take away this angle, and he does to perfection. Notclaw, though. That's a big shot. Rocky's making the play. He goes back to back, gets another one before getting shut down by Danger. Hive, they take control of the neutral, but Danger with that elimination is going to stretch past, get control of the home mill. But Hive, they're saying everybody has to do their part if we're going to win this round, and everybody's going to have to play it perfect.
Yeah, it's up to really Zoom and Pushyz at this point. I mean, they're in a 2v3, and it's not going to be an easy fight, especially that Zoom is down. And with that series of kills, it will cap out at 250 to 173. Another round going to the way of Casa de Papel. And Jacob, Casa de Papel, are they impressing you so far in the 2 rounds you've seen?
They actually are impressing me, but I think I'm just also a lack of impressed of Hive right here. Back-to-back rounds, you see Casa de Papel not doing the norm, trying to go down low and make the point game, the neutral hill, their main focus. You've seen back-to-back rounds with Hive trying to over-aggress the top side of the map. That's been a failure both times, and unable to really get their footing once this team of Casa de Papel is set up. So they're going to put that torque bow down. They're going to start off with a big chaotic fight towards the U, and hopefully that one plays out better off of the initial.
Round number 3, and Casa de Papel, they've been controlling this map, so on and so forth. An opportunity to take a 2-1 lead has now, got a little bit closer in reality for the team of Casa, but either way for Hive, they've got to fight back. We've seen them get some great kills, and they've clearly been slain out throughout this event. But for Hive, though, might be losing this Overlook fight. Red 9 needs a couple of pellets, not going to be enough, and well, now all the pressure is on Zoom from Hive. He's got to win this fight against Notclaw in the 1v1, and he's got to do it quickly because the Overlook fight is won from Casa, but Hive does win that, so at least they're going to have one hill, Jacob. But if Zoom lost that, this round could have been over with.
Rocky taking back-to-back torque bows, luckily for the spawn. Danger, 3 for 3 when it comes to those torque bows. He's gonna get some splash damage on the Zoom. Nice damage at that. Spotting out Zoom, making sure he doesn't go for free. Flash grenade's gonna be in there. Zoom's gonna go down, so great switch on over to Rocky as Pushyz gets dropped. He's gonna get taken out. Their job just got exponentially harder. Danger, another torque bow. Pistol fire to make their job that much harder. And yes, my question has been answered. It looks like lightning can strike twice.
I guess so. 3-0 lead, and that's with an adjustment torque bow placed on the map, and it still doesn't help. Actually, it helps out Casa de Papel even more. I mean, Danger was so deadly, connecting 3 for 3, as you said, off the rip, and man, at this point in time, Casa de Papel has been incredibly impressive. Clearly, Training Grounds is their best map on Escalation, like I called out before, but it's absolutely solidified at this point in time, and I can see why they beat E United and they put up a great fight. But I mean, this was Hive's pick. Like, this is the thing, that Hive do their research heading into this series. I would not have picked TG. Much rather have had Harbor or Vascar, but not this map.
I mean, I had a feeling. I thought Hive was picking it because there's such high amount of confidence, especially with how aggressive they put. I thought we'd see something down towards the middle or towards the U a lot sooner to force the fights, but she's sneaking up, and he gets one. Goes for back-to-back, but Danger, a defining force on this side of the map, from Torque Bow to Shotgun, doing a good job. Great flash to back down Rocky yet again. He has a shot lead. Red 9's getting aggressed on as well. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place, but great job and a great play to take out Smokz to get the Torque Bow in his hand.
All right, Torque Bow in Red 9's hand. Maybe an opportunity for Hive to finally stop the bleeding, win a round, but they're going to have to fight hard. They really have to here. And now with Hive set up on Overlook, the only player you got to deal with is going to be Notclaw, who is going to go ahead and back away. You know, the chance for Hive, if they win this engagement to win this round, it could be very real, but Hive, they're going to fully back away, play defense for their own home hill. But Casa de Papel, do they want to continue with the aggression pushing forward? If they push like that and they win on, you know, that Overlook fight as quickly as they did off the second half and they win the neutral, that would be great. But there's still more work to be done, and now they're down 133 to 88.
It's going to be a great turnaround, and this isn't going to convincingly give momentum over to Hive if they win it. And I say if because we've seen bigger things and bigger upsets happen, but it's definitely going to stop. But at least put Casa de Papel in their place. They're going to have to chain together another round after it if they want to steal that momentum away and start to kind of build it on a forward trajectory But with the last torque bow in hands, Red9 just waiting for that perfect moment, trying to find somebody out of position. Pushyz going to be the first player going down. Red9, he's going to get backed up. Smokz getting aggressive. He knows the game is in his hands here, especially if he can get this Elim onto Red9. And no matter what happens, he has teammates winning their fights as well. Everybody doing good on the side of Casa de Papel, but somebody snuck past. That was Rocky that gets the home hill of Casa de Papel. So now they have to backtrack, send a couple members back. Not too many though, because they still have to hold on to the hills that they do have as well.
Gotta hold on tight. This is a round for Hive. They just got a little bit longer to hold on. Player 3, Notclaw, will come off the respawn for Casa de Papel to get on C. So all eyes have to be on the home hill fight of A for Hive, but really there's not much to look at. It's going to be Hive taking this round and finally stopping the bleeding just a little bit. It's still trickling, but maybe there's a chance for Hive after all.
That's what I'm saying. This one they won it by points. They didn't get over aggressive, and that was the thing. And a lot of those first two, they were trying to make the moves. They were trying to either make defensive pushes or stops, I should say, or offensive pushes, and it just wasn't working out for them. Most notably, the first two rounds off of that initial. So they're just trying to stop the momentum, like I said, and you can see the ensigns being upgraded to both sides. But because of that torque bow placement, that's going to allow Casa de Papel to start building up something for the other side of the map.
Okay, so will this be a fresh start for Hive? We'll definitely find out. After all, Casa de Papel did take a bit of a stumble, but I mean, either way you look at it, Casa de Papel had a phenomenal first half, leading 3-1. So they're still absolutely the favorites and the heavy hitters at this point in time. The ensign's on this fight, and now it's elevated a bit more because you've got the torque there, you've got the neutral, and Pushyz will connect onto Sulfuls. But Danger, he's getting hugely aggressive, and will he be rewarded? Yes, he will. Look at the kill feed. All blue. Zoom last alive after that first blood with the ensign. I thought for sure Hive were going to be in good hands, but I mean, Casa de Papel said, look, what do we got to lose? Let's push in and go strong, and they did exactly that.
It almost makes me feel like Hive hasn't snapped out of being a challenger team. They're in the pro league, but it almost looks like their strats are that of a challenger team. They haven't been able to make the right adjustments. They haven't been able to make the plays as a full cohesive unit, and it's eating them up alive at the end of the day. A lot of their strategies is based around aggression, so once it doesn't work out for them, they don't have much left in that bag of tricks, but they're going to have to dig much deeper into that bag. Even if it's just a bunch of parts that they have to piece together, they have to figure it out fast.
What can Danger do? We've seen him go 3 for 3, back to back to back. This time around, he will miss. Pushyz will effectively back away, but that torque bow alone is stopping Hive in their tracks from pushing forward. But maybe on E, but not on D. Notice on the opposite side, Jacob, Zoom, Red9 looking to make a move on D on the home hill of Casa de Papel, and the only person to defend is going to be Sulfuls as he backs away, but maybe you're going to fight fire with fire. Casa de Papel, they kill Pushyz, and now they're going to break away.
Yeah, right now, it looks like Hive knows they're not going to win this one off of points. It's just too deep, too far down into the hole. They need that triple neutralization, and that's why you see Rocky bypassing some players, trying to simply go for the break and stay alive, but he bites off more than he can chew, puts himself in such a tough spot, but you can see 2 hills to none for that few seconds has done just enough to give them the win condition overall. So now it's going to be up to Casa de Papel to figure out which one of these 2 hills they want to neutralize before the lead goes over to Hive.
152 to 197. It's incredibly close. Hive has now opened up a door to be able to win this round, but they've still got to win a decisive battle on D, or at least stagnate it long enough to allow the score to teeter in their favor. 30 seconds is a long time to hold on, especially when you're trying to fight against Casa de Papel's constant respawns, and a decap will come through onto D, so now Hive is going to go and initiate action. First blood's going to go their way. Pushyz will pick up a second, and now he's going to be in a 1v1 against Notclaw, but either way, Pushyz will back away. Nice Boltok shots. Hive still holding on, but Casa de Papel, they've got the win condition.
This is the big fight right here. Rocky, all he needs is a decap, and he gets it. 1v1 against Danger. Rocky does just enough to give his team the go-ahead advantage. Smokz now needs a decap versus 2 members here. It's going to be Sulfuls, the first player trying to step in. He gets denied entry from the club, and it looks like Casa de Papel will let this one slip underneath their fingers, and Hive will chain together back-to-back rounds and really shut down that momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 1 round, okay, you're not really shutting down Casa de Papel. 2 rounds in a row, though, you're absolutely shutting them down, especially when you look at the result of that last round, Jacob. Casa de Papel having a considerable lead, and then right there, Hive turns it back in their favor, and Pushyz a large reason for that, dropping Smokz. Obviously, that team fire did not help at all, but Pushyz with the Boltok locks it down. But there was a moment there Casa de Papel could have won, but I mean, it came down to a knife's edge, and well done from Hive to hold on as well as they did.
There's only so much you can hold on. You're dangling on the edge of that cliff. You can't hold on forever. You're going to have to climb up or let go at the end of the day. And let's see how much strength, let's see how much gas they have left in the tank here. And already switching it up. I like the way they're able to at least slow it down off the initial instead of going 0 to 100 every single moment. But I need to see that little bit extra as Rocky's actually going for a flank, getting some damage onto Smokz, forcing him to go forward into a down. Pushyz and him are going to work together to get that first blood.
But not the E-Hill just yet. Hive, they know they've got control of Overlook, but they want to clear out everybody from Casa de Papel. I can't blame them. Danger now falls. Now they can officially back away. And really the cherry on top could be Hive successfully powering back, or at least pushing back against that overextension. And Zoom putting in that work. Zoom is a guy that can be so incredibly consistent. Has he had a standout map on training grounds? I can't say that. But, you know, you look at Zoom at times where it's just like, man, it's a wonder to watch him work and just a wonder to see him just pull off so many incredible plays. Well done from him to win that 1v2 on the opposite end.
I like switching on over. Rocky. Splash damage is going to be there. Kind of shooting these ones out, kind of giving these ones out like candy on Halloween. I feel like he needs to be a little bit more tight with those work bows. Wait for a push to come through. Spotting out a couple of utility nades, getting tossed at him. That's when you want to rev it up. Unable to connect yet again, but because of those missed torque bows early on, now he's left with 1 left in the quiver.
But if he can connect onto somebody from Casa de Papel, he brings it to a 2v2, which is going to be neck and neck and even. That was a clean shot on Smokz. If he takes that, maybe he connects, but he holds back. But by holding back now, you got to take a riskier shot, which to his credit, he does get, and he picks up the second after, and the third of Sulfuls is going to be pincered. Great idea to push Pushyz. Unfortunately, the execution wasn't as smooth. We do see a little bit of moving pieces, though, from Casa de Papel. They do overextend, but Danger is by himself. This is going to be a tough hold.
Danger's trying to reposition here. That way he doesn't get stuck. Flank towards the backside. Nobody's really there to give him that cross over the top, so he's going to get dropped. Smokz picking up those ensigns, making work towards the neutral. Met by Rocky. Missed ensign. Does do a little bit of damage. Refires an ensign of their own. Smokz is going to go down. And that's what happens when you miss ensigns. Those little opportunities really cost you at the end of the day, to where Casa de Papel trying to get in the hill. Rocky just trying to buy time. He is going to go down regardless, but 2 hills to 1. They know they need a triple neutralization if they're going to be victorious.
I don't know if it's going to happen, though, Jacob. I mean, D is a long way away. Player 3 drops off, and Red Knight is also popping off on the opposite end. I mean, he doesn't get it, but it doesn't matter. It's still going to be a solid victory for the way of Hive. Now, we talked about momentum shifting in 4. We talked about it even more in 5. Now let's talk about it around 6. After it's now tied up 3-3, Hive, they're doing something different that is clearly working in their favor, despite Danger and Smokz being 19-7, 18-10. What is Hive doing that is making them victorious?
I mean, just to kind of put it simply, they're playing a little bit more slow on the initials. They're forcing Casa de Papel to really make those mistakes. And as soon as they begin to tighten up, they feel like as a team, an individual shotgun versus shotgun style fight, they have what it takes to take out Casa de Papel, but they're not giving them those shotgun all-out brawls. They're forcing them to use their brain more than their brawn.
Talk about that experience from Hive. They've got a lot of brains, and what an instant, right? From Smokz onto Red Knight. But, you know, we saw that happen earlier from Hive, and they still didn't win the initial. And we might see the same thing, but this time for Casa de Papel, great connection with the instant. But where's everybody else at to make the magic happen? Well, nowhere, as Hive will have definitive control. Sulfuls did get the sniper out of the way, but the torque bow, I believe, is still down. No, is it? No one got it. No, Haraki got it, excuse me. So, hey, we saw him. He didn't utilize it that well last time. Can he do well or much better this time?
Our team trusts him. So they trust, even though I had to pause there for a moment because I thought he was going to get the headshot. Red9 taking out Sulfuls, trying to make a cheeky play. Still a 3v3 going down, make it a 3v2 as they lose one. Across the map is going to be Zoom, so they have to back out here, Rocky and Red9, but they have the torque bow. Splash damage is going to become a factor, but great movement by Claw, just mere inches from making that one a possibility. But Hive, they're forcing him out of the hill. It's not going over to Casa de Papel just yet, leaving Smokz in a 1v3. He's going to drop. 2 players will go back on a respawn, so Sulfuls in danger. They're going to have to think of plan B.
My only criticism, I think Rocky could have held on to that torque bow. He sends it on the ground to try and get the finish on the down player, but you also know that there's a player in front of you. He's pinned down by 2 other players on Hive, so your teammates got that. You don't need to waste a torque. That could have been a valuable torque bow to use in this moment where Casa de Papel are back with the refresh to try and once again go for the break on E, but I mean, just like last time, they're not getting anywhere. You got Danger and Sulfuls pinned in a corner. Good team pickups. That will allow it to stay a 3v3, but how's it going to end up unfolding? Well, a couple of kills will come through, or at least downs, onto the side of Casa de Papel, and they will win the second engagement. But, I mean, Hive, they've got a great lead. They're about to break 200 points, so the win condition should stay in Hive's favor, and it will.
Sniper coming up shortly as well, so they have everything. They have the map position. They're looking to get the decap as well. Zoom gets one onto Sulfuls. Red9 gets another. So this is going to come down to a 2v2 onto the home hill, forcing out revives. Shotguns are going to end that one as Red9 meets his maker back to respawn. And you said it yourself, Casa de Papel was shut down the streak and win their 4th round, putting them on that point.
You know, you can take a stumble, but it's all about that recovery. Keep that composure in your favor. And even though Casa de Papel lose 3 straight rounds, they get a massive victory to put them at map point and an opportunity to take a 2-1 lead in the series. Not only that, win back-to-back nights on Training Grounds Escalation, therefore solidifying even more that this is your best map, undeniably, when it comes to Escalation. Take notes, teams. Don't play the team of Casa de Papel on Training Grounds, but it's not over with just yet. I want to see if one of the rosters can get out with both power weapons, because last time we did see Sulfuls, he got his hands on the sniper, but he ended up dying shortly afterwards. Meanwhile, Rocky did get his hands onto the torque bow. So can one roster get both of them? It would be a big task, but this time around, Notclaw is going to be the first one in cave. He might pick up that sniper shortly, but Rocky as well as player 7, that's going to be Zoom trying to keep him in check.
Notclaw immediately trying to get out there. Rotating on over to Smokz, who gets backtracked. Down coming in, unable to get the elim just yet, but double down. He's going to be on his last, so he's going to have to pick and choose when he enters the fight with the rest of the team. But the biggest thing is Claw. He has that sniper. Opportunity presents himself, and Pushy's going to go down. Shot's going to be landed onto Red9. His teammates are going to be there. Nice. Back-to-back shots to get that down, and elim. And it looks like Casa de Papel, they want this round victory. They could taste it.
Absolutely. And they've got a big task at hand now. You know, they won the initial, they won the fight, they get both power weapons. I kind of made a little bit of a challenge. Who can lock down both power weapons? Clearly Casa de Papel. You got Notclaw with the sniper. We've already seen him put it to great usage, and the torque bow in Smokz hand. When you're on map point and you have everything in your favor, all you have to do now is just hold on tight and not let the round slip through your fingertips. Hive, they've got a big task to try and flip the script here.
Trying to get the shot, being patient. With only one in the chamber, you really have no other choice. Player getting spotted out on the flank. Gonna make Red9's job that much harder. In fact, he goes down. That's gonna be a great cleanup. And once again, Casa de Papel, they're playing impatient. They're playing the game of points here because they know it's gonna be Hive that's forced to make play after play. And so they're just waiting for them to make a mistake.
Ooh, he revs it up. He sends it flying. It won't amount to much anyways. And player 6, Rocky will still have some real estate up top. Notclaw will move in. And Notclaw just about sent that shot flying. I think he had just a bit or not enough pixels anyways. So Hive, they're looking to make some big moves here, but it seems as if they're failing. Zoom and Pushyz last alive, and Pushyz is by himself. He'll take one to the grave, but it's not going to be enough. Casa de Papel, 20 seconds away from victory. I don't think Hive even has enough time to get all the way across the map.
to me, even if they did have the time, I don't think Casa de Papel are going to let them. You got Danger posted up, 22 elims, 15 assists, shutting Zoom down yet again, not letting those clutch plays from Clocktower even be a possibility, as Casa de Papel is going to win that round off points and win the map 5-3. And like I said, lightning will strike twice. They take out E United, they take out Hive, and now they're looking at a strong training grounds roster.
Absolutely. You know, they beat E United 5-3. They beat Hive 5-3 on training grounds and back-to-back nights. Some people said, look, hey, that victory against E United yesterday on Escalation, it doesn't mean much, but clearly it does, because Casa de Papel keeps it consistent. Very well done from them. And again, a head-scratcher, Hive picks training grounds, which to me says, hey, Casa, we're willing to play you on your best map, which fair enough, that's cool. But are you really that worried about playing on Vascar and playing on Harbor? Is Training Grounds truly your best map? And if it is, then I've got a lot of concerns for the Hive roster. Now I have quite a bit of concerns because they are down 2-1 in the series. The job's not going to get easier from here. In fact, it's going to be even more difficult. Now you're moving into Speyer, and I do believe Casa de Papel picked that map.
Yeah, and honestly, you can kind of see it throughout the course of the matchup. I haven't seen Hive have like a convincing setup since Regency on control, and even then it was very, very scrappy and holding that setup. And I think that's the thing. I think Hive told themselves, they thought to themselves, we're just going to win an initial, we're going to set up very, very similar to what Casa de Papel actually did to get the victory. But I just feel like, once again, they're a very, very aggressive team, and their bag of tricks is much smaller than I ever would have guessed coming into this matchup.
Yeah, it really is hard to see because, I mean, they had such a great map, number one, but I mean, we have 3 different game modes, and 3 different game modes doesn't means that you've got to be well-rounded. Control, okay, you could say Hive is great there on Regency, but, you know, Clocktower, not a bad showing. It really wasn't, especially from Zoom's perspective, picking up so many great plays, but Training Grounds, it left a lot to be desired, even with that comeback, winning 3 rounds in a row, but Casa de Papel, they just had better penetration power. More specifically here on the E fight, they were confident. This push for me kind of really sealed the deal. That was such a bold push from the roster of Casa de Papel. I mean, they were what? The Ensign took down 1. So to make that knowingly you're going in at a man disadvantage and still win that fight was huge on their part.
And honestly, watching these replays, it almost makes me feel when Hive was pushing, they were pushing like it was a rank match. Like players weren't going to be crossing them over the top, pistol, lancer, set up. But when Casa de Papel was pushing and getting aggressive, they were setting up their pushes. They were making sure players had pre-damage for the Lancer, the pistol. They were making sure utility was there. Look at a Danger over the top while his teammate's pushing. He's just lancering the entire time. And on the side of Hive, I'm not even sure they remember some of the time they have a Lancer or a pistol and they spawn with it at that.
Yeah, it's not the best showing. That's just the way that it is. I mean, Casa de Papel, that teamwork is really shining through, even in the damage done. Like, big moves from Danger. 23,000 damage, nearly 24,000, just 75 damage away from hitting 24K. He went 23 and 8. He had 15 assists. Absolutely the outlier on not only the Casa de Papel roster on that Trading Grounds Escalation, but also for the entire lobby. But even with that, I mean, you had 19K from Smokz and Notclaw, and then you had Sulfuls sitting around at 17,000. But the point is, everybody in double digits when it came down to assist on the side of Casa de Papel. But Zoom, who played so well and had those pop-off moments, and even at one point on the home hill of Casa de Papel, you know, winning a 1v2, he goes 7 and 14 with 6 assists, so not a good showing from him at all. And when you have one weak link in the chain, sometimes it snaps, and maybe Zoom was the issue on Training Grounds.
Yep, and honestly, the way Casa de Papel played that Training Grounds, it almost brings a little bit more clarity to why they played the certain way they did on Clocktower when Zoom did clutch. They're team-oriented. They want to play for crosses. They want to play for damage. They don't want to let anybody kind of get that one-shot chunk like Zoom did multiple times. So they just try to backtrack knowing he was already weak. So sometimes you have to flip the switch and get aggressive, but there is more clarity there. So it makes it less of a brainless play, I should say, in my head of why Casa de Papel might have backrolled and let that clutch be a possibility. Because at the end of the day, what would you rather have? If Zoom feeling the confidence of a clutch or Casa de Papel feeling the confidence of a 2-1 lead?
That is a fact. You know, Map 4, this is the second time Hive has, or because they would map 1, technically they send it to a map 4. Now, granted, Hive, they are struggling at this point because they're down 2-1, but this is only the second time in Pro League for Split 3 that Hive has seen a map 4. Granted, Casa de Papel not that much ahead. They've only seen map 4 twice before they were defeated, but regardless, though, the stamina now, is it going to come into play? I assume Hive is going to be just fine, but, Zoom, we saw him slow down quite a bit on training grounds, and from a perspective of the next map, it's going to be on Speyer, which has not been played once from the team of Hive. Now, granted, they haven't seen many map 4s. They've been 3-0'd quite a bit. So Speyer, a map they might not be as comfortable or familiar with. Meanwhile, Casa de Papel have played on Speyer at least once in Split 3, but they clearly practice it because they picked it for their 4th map. So they know something that we don't know. They know that they are going to be a team that is going to be tough to beat on Speyer, at least in this case with Hive playing against them. So Hive might be, having one foot out the door already.
Yeah, and honestly, you said something there kind of throughout the course that there's always something that you say where it just holds on to me. And I'm thinking more and more, I'm like, okay, that sounds legit. That sounds strong where you're talking about like Casa de Papel, the amount of map 4s they've seen alone, the mental stamina being a thing right now. I don't think Hive really has lost any of their mental stamina, their mental endurance. I think a lot of it is their strats not being up to par. So I think that could be something to watch out for. If Casa de Papel finds himself getting gas, finds himself getting tired in the series mentally and kind of cutting down on a lot of the fundamentals that got them this 2-1 lead, I think Hive is going to be waiting for that moment. So I think the ball is definitely in Casa de Papel's court, whether they want to close this one out with a 3-1 score line or they want to put themselves in danger, let this go to a map number 5. I think they have full control here.
Speyer is a bigger map. Regency is a big map on its own right, but it allows for some closely contested hills, and when you try to penetrate the hills and get inside the hills, you do have some coverage, so CQC fights are more rampant as opposed to Speyer, where long range kind of wins the day, and Chapel Step's going to be very important, but in general, even controlling the opposite end of the map where, you have the hill on one end and then you've got yourself set up on the other end. If you're that support player to lay down that cover fire, that's going to be big. And that was kind of exemplified quite a bit from the assist and the damage done from Casa de Papel's perspective on training grounds. Speyer is going to be a lot the same, where I expect that team fire and that damage done to be into the favor of Casa de Papel. Rocky, he has a standout showing in map number 1, 24-5, 18,000 damage done. But Rocky was also getting those kills by being inside the hill. He was able to get inside the hill. He was able to make an impact in those CQC fights. That's going to be tapered off on Speyer, Jacob. So for Hive, they've got to be a multiverse team. CQC fights aren't going to be everything. Now you got to play at a distance and be comfortable with it.
And you do it again. You do it again. You just say something. Even though you don't have that professional player background reflections, I think you would be a phenomenal coach. And I'm not just tooting your horn because you kind of just know exactly what to say in these moments about like tapering off and the players, the stamina and how these maps play out, because you said it in that map number 1, how great Rocky was playing with the eliminations and his team was supporting. That's literally been the flow of the game. Casa de Papel not shooting for each other, map number 1, it's a big loss. Execution, the escalation, they shoot for each other to perfection. They're big map victories. Meanwhile, they're shooting for each other. Hive begins to slow down. They start playing more individual, and that same team fire begins to cease. So coming into this one, that is definitely going to be something that both of these teams have to have in the back of their mind.
All it took was staying at a Holiday Inn Express. I did that last night, and look, I'm smarter than I've ever been. Ladies and gentlemen, the commercials are real. But let's get into it. Map number 4, and Hive has to answer back. Now, no surprise, hill number 1, where it's just headbutting straight into Casa de Papel on Chapel. They win the fight. Again, Hive, they're comfortable in the CQC fights. We have seen that exemplified time in and time out. It's going to be future hills and those corner hills where Casa de Papel could truly accentuate that teamwork and what makes them so talented. Great chop shot. That's going to take down Notclaw. I think he got some splash damage as well, but as he looks around in confusion, Red Knight is by himself, but doesn't mean that he's going to be taken down without a fight. He at least gets to kill in the smoke and confusion onto Sulfuls and waste a little bit of time, but we do see Casa de Papel. They do clap back. They're going to be at 16-16 now at this point in time, and the Chapel Step seeing a lot of blood and gore as Pushyz, he's going to rock in with his teammates, of course, that of Rocky, to try and just get Casa de Papel out of this hill, but they're not having much luck. And if you look at the top end of things, you got Sulfuls and Danger already set up for the next hill. So not only does Casa de Papel get the bulk of the points from the first hill, and they also win the CQC fights more often than that of Hive, they also set themselves up on the rotation earlier on. So they win 2 fights technically.
You would have guessed my favorite color is silver, though, because the silver lining in this one is fresh off of the respawn Hive. They get some scrap time, but the biggest thing right here, if you look in your mini-map, they're going deep into the spawn. That's going to be one of the biggest things that these teams and these players have to really utilize, is that deep spawn route. So take note of that, and it's going to be Pushyz, and I do believe Zoom going to hold that angle.
Definitely trying to. Zoom, a guy who we've seen pop off the Swiss Army knife, maybe even for this Hive roster, even though I gotta admit, I haven't seen much of Hive or Casa de Papel throughout this Pro League, and that's just because they've kind of been overshadowed. Well, granted, I mean, they're both 0-5, but they've been overshadowed by multiple rosters, but it's been nice to kind of put the magnifying glass on both of them in this series. But for Casa de Papel, great control. The rotation ended up working out, and Notclaw even feeling confident to rotate out completely to finally finish off Red 9. That's a big hill. And now even another drop shot going to the way of Casa de Papel. I mean, they're doing everything right.
Yeah, they're doing everything. They get the frags as well. Even though it does look like a player went down, Smokz, I see it in the mini-map, making that saving play to keep the frags, keeping the drop shot under Casa de Papel control. Now it's going to make that push that much easier. Perfect one thrown to get Zoom out of the corner. Drop shot's going to be there as well. Splash damage is going to be the only reward as Zoom finally gets taken down, but they anchor themselves deep into that cubby as Rocky and Red 9 continue to fall. Pushyz, he's going to be the last member standing for now towards the spawn point, so that's something good for Hive, but everything else is just danger, danger, danger.
Pushyz now, he knows he's got his hands full, but he's got to go forward. He has to at least attempt to do so. Zoom can help him out, but maybe they're going to time this perfectly with Rocky and Pushyz, because Rocky and Red 9, they're going to be attacking from one end, and then you got Pushyz and another of Zoom who's attacking from the opposite end. So it could be a clean takeover, but it might even be a better hold from Casa de Papel's perspective. But Smokz, he overextends himself a little bit too much, and he'll drop off, which then puts a 2v1 onto Notclaw. But did they still recover, Jacob?
I can't believe this team. This is a whole different team than we've seen all season long. But then again, at the same time, both of these teams fighting for their first win of the season. But that's what exactly that is making Casa de Papel so strong. They're playing everybody the same. They're making sure that their game plan, the blueprint to their strategy, is very, very sound.
145-24, Casa de Papel playing flawlessly. This might very well, ladies and gentlemen, be their first win in Pro League, and what a win it would be. Hive's got to wake up, and they need to get to work quickly. Red 9 has been moving and grooving and playing very well, but it's simply not enough. The reason why is because Hive, as individuals, are trying to make plays. Casa de Papel, they don't really care if they have the highest stats. They want to play together as a team. So every time you look at Red 9 trying to pop off a Rocky, trying to make some big moves, he's in a 1v2 or he's in a 1v3. You're not going to win maps like that.
Oh my God, 29-14 in terms of assists. These are assists. You're talking about doubling up Casa de Papel, making sure nobody goes through this journey alone, making sure that teamwork really does make the dream work. As Danger, he just tries to shoot off, goes and backtracks, knowing that he became a target, and with that, the team is going to push and pull. Drop shot being picked up, wasting no time, but it's used, but only splash damage on the Rocky. Smokz cleans up that Elim while saving his teammate. Zoom, going to be the only player along with Red 9 to get some Elims, but it's on 2 different portions of the map.
At this point, it's getting silly. I mean, it really is. 166 to 27. This is such a tremendous lead. Hive, I hate to say it, almost looking non-existent. Another drop shot going to the way of Casa de Papel. Hive, to their credit, did get a drop shot off of the very start. They got the very first one on the map, but they haven't got one since. Casa de Papel has just been prioritizing the hills as well as the power weapons a little bit more effectively. Sulfuls, he tried to make a move there, but it's just not going to go anywhere, you know, but hey, for Hive, that's okay, because now they do get 20 or so points their way that they can take. We're about to go back to the start, though, and a battle already underway for Chapel. We'll see them kind of break away. You got to try and control this side of the map at least so you can have success on the next hill. But, I mean, it's going to be a scrappy one for sure. I mean, Hive is still kind of broke out 2-2 split, and I don't even think they got the 20 points off the last hill.
Yeah, Smokz to try to cloud off one. Sulfuls goes down. Great shots by Pushyz. It almost makes you wonder he's by himself, but no, Rocky there waiting in the ring. That makes the mark that much more important so that Rocky can put out the damage, but that separation, a few steps, causes him to go down and unable to be the hero, but the Lancer fire to perfection. Rocky's just like a rock, holds his ground and lets that Lancer rip to go ahead and put the cover fire the team needed to hold on to that hill, but with 60 seconds left, frag grenades up, 24 seconds on drop shot. You know Casa de Papel is going to have at least one, maybe two more attempts on this.
They got to try, and they're going to try for sure, and Danger's nades are going to help for sure. You have to assume anyways. One thrown out, going to at least back up Hive in the moment. The second one is going to be thrown hopefully soon. Maybe it's already gone, but maybe it doesn't help as much as I thought it would. Hive holding on tight, and Casa de Papel trying everything in their power to break, but Jacob, that second attempt, it's not going to go anywhere.
Big turnaround from Hive in the past two hills, I do believe, really chaining together some momentum, bringing that score down below 100. And that's what you got to do if you're a team like Hive, that you don't have that bag of tricks that I'm talking about. You don't have all the experience under the world. You got to take it step by step. And that was it. Step number one, you just win the battle right in front of you. So now that they've gotten that hill, they're leaving about 10 seconds left. They're trying to find the pick. They're trying to find the information. And once they do, they're going to lean on over to that side of the map.
Shot in Rocky's hand. I mentioned the last time Hive had a drop shot was the very first one, but that one is going to be whiffed entirely. He tried to take down Notclaw to get him away from that car position, but it doesn't go anywhere. And now you got Casa de Papel, who's able to keep the hill contested a little bit, and Smokz is putting his life to use. He'll take down Rocky. He'll double back to just maintain what he's got and allow for his teammates to push up. The smoke is going to help Smokz, ironically, as he'll push forward, and now you got the members of Hive who are going to be pincered in, and the vice grip is tightened up, but it looks like maybe a breakout attempt, but I mentioned Red Knight once again making some star-studded plays, but it's simply not going to be enough because the teamwork from Casa... Hold up. Red Knight is still popping off. Maybe he can do this, and he will. Let me take a step back. Red Knight is still making those pop-off plays, baby.
Yeah, they got just about 15 points. 15 points for Casa de Papel throughout all that scrappiness. And even though Smokz is going to cloud out Red 9, the marks are there. Perfect shots to get down onto Smokz, cleaning him up. But Red 9 being the only player physically on the hill. He gets overthrown, and Casa de Papel will mark that hill theirs once more. About 20 points off of this hill as Zoom goes down, which is basically going to solidify that scrap time to Casa de Papel.
216 out of 130. To Hive's credit, they have... you know, came back a lot more than I expected them to do so, especially with how Casa de Papel was leading. You know, Hive, they got some substantial points. I want to say about over 100, and Casa de Papel only got about 30 or so. Sulfuls getting another drop shot. Managed to back away. We're back at the start, where Hive, you know, had some great CQC fights. To Casa de Papel's credit, though, I think they fought incredibly well. Drop shot still in the hands of Sulfuls. He is, in fact, going to die with it on his back, unfortunately. That hurts. I mean, he should have just used it.
The thing here is, even though there's great moments from Hive, I think overall Casa de Papel, their play style, the way they're playing as a team right now, should be enough to eclipse 75 points before their opponents get about 160, but only time will tell. Rocky has a frag, and he's trying to stop any plans of aggression right dead in its tracks, but a couple players slip through right into the hands of Red 9 and Pushyz, who get a couple of kills for the team of Hive. And Rocky, you know, he's calling it out to his team. They want to keep staggering out their opponents. They do just right by finding that one on Danger. Uh-oh.
Oh, in fact, Rocky is going to drop here. Maybe a chance for Casa de Papel to get the break, but no, you got Red 9 up in front. You got Rocky as well for the rope-a-dope switching. Well, it seems like Hive might be holding on tight, but I don't know, Jacob. You probably saw something I didn't. You said preemptively, and it really wasn't Casa de Papel have control of the hill. Maybe not for a long time, though. Pushyz. I honestly don't know how some of these fights end up going the way they do. How does Hive win that?
Shotgun.
Obviously, but
Shot
how?
right in the
Like,
back.
technically,
That's
how?
Honestly, they had the advantage, though. They had Smokz. They had that narrow corridor. Even though players dropped left and right, you still have to fight through all the unknown. You're not really spotting out players throughout all that madness as Rocky, trying to spot somebody off guard, has the help of Zoom over his shoulder. This is a very deadly combination, but as long as they play their cards right, and it looks like they might have smoked, he's getting put full red, but Zoom has to backtrack, not able to help him. Red 9, he's going to be the first player picked off before anybody gets control over the hill, and Smokz goes down, though. That's a big battle won, because it looks like Pushyz was about to go down himself.
Nice shots from Rocky, though. Meat shield in hand. That's going to at least back up Sulfuls. And Rocky surely wins this engagement. Sulfuls can't stay there, and he's going to go ahead and double back, but he gets pinched in between a rock and a hard place, Rocky being one of those rocks, and then a hard place being, I don't know, somebody from Hive who's over there. And we could very well be seeing Hive come back in scintillating fashion, brother. They're doing it quite well. Now it's just a 39-point game.
Yeah, right now, Casa de Papel, the house of paper is crumbling right before our very eyes. Over 100+ points at one point or another, getting dropped and continuously being dwindled down as Smokz with the drop shot in hands, trying to smoke them out and rotate these players of Hive around. And you can see the marks, even though they did disappear, they got an idea of where they're going to be rotating to as Red 9 gets picked off. Zoom is across the map, so 25 possible seconds up for grabs.
All right, Casa de Papel will, no, not just yet. I thought they were going to break 250, but they will eventually get there, and Notclaw will stay for the scrap time. These next deals are going to be very important for Hive to regain, and I love that they rotate early on, and they establish themselves inside the hill. Danger picking up Red 9. Yeah, it hurts for Hive's perspective. You want control of Chapel, but it doesn't mean Danger's going to get there. You see him full red because of that Lancer fire. But now you got Smokz and Co. who's trying to push in. This could dismantle Hive's defensive setup. So it's now an all-out brawl. It's a brawl for sure. And who's going to be ended up standing at the final seconds? It is going to be Casa de Papel. Well done from Smokz as well as Sulfuls and Notclaw to break through. Danger falling again. It hurt a little bit, but ultimately for Casa de Papel, those players coming from mid, hey, they made all the difference.
And my biggest uh-oh right now is you can see the weapons, 25 seconds for drop shot, 10 seconds or so for frag grenades, and Hive doesn't have the luxury to wait for these. They have to go. So if Casa de Papel dies, they're going to have first grabs of the weapon, so it's almost a lose-lose for Hive here in this situation as a couple players going down. Chain Revive's being forced out. Sulfuls with the perfect flank. He gets two. Smokz gets a third. Red 9 by himself with the game on the line. He gets chunked out. Back to respawn you go, and it looks like Casa de Papel will close out map number 4 and take their first win of the split, 3-1.
Well done, Casa de Papel. That is a big victory. They do it by winning 3 straight maps in a row. You know what? Sometimes the hardest win is the first one to get. And, well, clearly they worked hard to get here, but winning that head-to-head now gives them an opportunity to break away from relegation potentially. And who knows? Finish in 8th place in standings. We'll see if they'll be able to do so. Only time will tell. You know, the future is the future, and, well, they control their destiny. But at least for this series tonight, both teams win in 0-5, and Casa de Papel will leave with a 1-5 record. Hell of a job.
Yeah, even though it got shaky there towards the end with Casa de Papel, I think overall, like I said, you have your blueprint. You know exactly how you want to play it. You just need to not stray away far from the game plan. It got scary when they were playing into Hive's hand with that aggression kind of getting tossed around after hill in those moments. But when I was seeing around 245, maybe even 225, I just seen the players of Casa de Papel constantly try to back roll, even though they were losing the situations. To me, that makes me believe that they themselves trust in the process and their game plan. It doesn't matter what is going wrong. They're going to make those perfect adaptations like they did.
You know, looking at the stats, surprisingly, no one really stands out to me. Like, there's not a stat line that says, wow, this guy truly had his way with the other roster. Everybody very neck and even. Obviously, with the scoreline of 300 to 225, you can kind of expect that. It simply came down to good rotations, prioritization on the power weapon, in this case, the drop shot, and just a better all defensive setup of Casa de Papel. And also, too, that score lead that got away from Hive in the beginning might have done Hive in. We do see them come back quite well and bring it to just a 39-point game. But you got to question, if they didn't take so long to get the ball rolling, would Hive stood a chance once we reached the end? And maybe they could have, but we've seen that happen so many times, Jacob, where one team, they get the ball rolling, but by the time they do, it's just a little bit too late, and that could have been the result for Hive.
Even though I did pick Hive to win the series, after watching it all play out, I think Casa de Papel is the better team. I think they deserve that victory. And really, honestly, congratulations to them because, like I said, it's a learning process. It's a learning lesson. Sometimes you kind of get beat down, but you got to take it in stride and just learn from it each and every time. And these guys are continuously learning. I'm laughing because as I looked at my second monitor to kind of watch the replay of that final push, I saw 4 shotguns out of Hive trying to push that hill. Now, what in the world makes you think you're going to break through with 4 shotguns? Who's lancering? Who's pistoling? Nobody.
Well, that's a reoccurring theme and something that, you know, we got to take away from this matchup. Hive, we know they can pop off. Zoom did it. We saw Rocky do it in map 1. Zoom did it in map 2 despite them losing. He had 15,000 damage. He won a 1v3. He then turns around and wins a 1v2. He won a 1v2. That was great on training grounds. But the point is, even though every player on Hive has the opportunity to make pop-off plays, they are all talented in their own right. These 4 members on a team might not be the right DNA. It might not be the right roster because they're not working together as a team in multiple regards, and therefore they get beat time in and time out because you got Pro League, you got 10 of the best teams here, and 9 of them are distinctly better than that of the roster of Hive because their teamwork is simply better. And in this case, Casa de Papel's teamwork really did make the victory for that roster. And I got to say, they are the better roster. I agree with you, Jacob.
They showed exactly what kind of the passion will lead to when you're playing the game because you can kind of see it. The players who kind of boast about taking breaks, getting bored, not scrimming are usually the ones receiving losses in these close, chaotic fights. When you have that chemistry down, a lot of stuff is muscle memory. Even though we always talk about communication is important, you being able to minimize the communication and the call outs because your teammate is right there with you saves seconds, and we know how vital seconds are in a match like this.
Without question, and we know how vital some mistakes are. You know, teams are going to capitalize off of that all day, every day. Maybe not in your, your ranked match or your pub matches, but in Pro League, look, you're going to get punished without question. Hey, map number or series number 1 is done. Casa de Papel, well done. You get your first Pro League win. Let's see if you can carry that momentum forward in more days. But with that series done, we have another great one that's about to come underway. Queso versus Rise. I can't wait to get this one started. Rise have been impeccable. That's just the best way to put them. But Queso, will they take the Rise? They're going to have to. This series coming up after the break.